Give everybody a chance to tap in with the kid before we start building on the subject matter for the day. Hopefully, y'all having a powerful Friday. Finishing the week off on a strong note. Hopefully, y'all got about 45 minutes to an hour to chop it up with the kid, listen to the build, add on, all that good stuff, man. I'm going to give y'all about 3 to 5 minutes, man, to come on up in here, come up in the chat. Let me know how y'all living and feeling before we dive into this subject matter, man. Y'all see what we talking about. We talking about the black community sweeping things under the rug, man. We good for that. You know, we going to talk about why that's such a problem and why in the world do we do it in the first place. Akuma, peace, what's happening? Jikazu, peace, what's happening? Javon, peace, what's the word? What's happening? How y'all living? How y'all feeling on this Friday? What's the word? Yeah, we got to build, man. We got to build on sweeping problems under the rug, man. We got to do it. Goldie, peace, what's happening? Eugene, peace, what's happening? What's the word? Man, I want to get, hey, this book for the day, man. It's a thick joint, but y'all already know it's right up my alley, man. Look at this joint, Manipulating the Masses. This right here, The Birth of American Propaganda. We gonna give y'all the evidence in regards to how they manipulate the masses, man, and how they give y'all fake news and how they distract y'all. We gonna give y'all the proof. You know, this book got a lot of the proof, a lot of the evidence. You know, but get this book right here, man, Manipulating the Masses, right here. This giving you the birth of American propaganda. This giving you the birth on how they distract us from what's really important. This right here. We don't just be talking about these things, man. We do the knowledge, we research these things. But here goes some evidence right here for all the people that be feeling like we be talking about conspiracy theories and things like that, man. Grab this book, break it down. Here goes some research for you. This is how the masses are manipulated, and here's the birth of that process. This book about 600 pages, man. Give you all the evidence that you need. Chris, peace, what's happening? What's the word? How we living and feeling, man? Yeah, we talking about black issues and that rug that we like to sweep these issues under, man. That's going to be the subject matter for the day, man. We're going to have to go in on it. You know, man, we got some weird ways in regards to how we try to not even resolve conflicts, because we like to suppress a lot of our situations, man. But we got a weird way of dealing with things and just wonder why things don't turn around for the better, you know. So we gotta chop it up, man. I be seeing it too often, man. And then Chris, for sure. I got that book somewhere up in here, man. But yeah, for sure. That's definitely a great book. Create Strategy, Peace. What's happening? What's happening? And I want to build on this too before I forget this point. I don't even know if this is a point, more so a statement. But I don't like this is I cannot stand this, bro. I cannot stand this. This is one of my pet peeves when people do this. I hate it. But I cannot stand when individuals judge a person's situation, like they compare a person's situation to their life and their upbringing, and they feel like if the person's life that they're judging, if that person has something in their lives that they didn't, that they should be grateful and they don't have anything to complain about. Like, I hate that. You cannot tell somebody how they should respond to their upbringing. Like, that's incorrect. That's ignorant. You know, if you, first of all, comparing your life to somebody else is just dumb in and of itself. But if you looking at somebody's life and you saying, man, you had this and I ain't had that, so you should be grateful. You shouldn't be complaining about anything. You can't do that, man. That's ignorant. You don't know what that person went through. Just because they had something in their lives that you didn't, don't necessarily mean that their lives turned out better. Y'all got to understand that, man. I cannot stand when people do that, as if a person don't have a right to feel negatively or feel down because they had something in their life that somebody else didn't. Come on, man. That's not how things work. You know, so I can't stand when people say that. Oh, man, you had such and such in your life. You ain't got no reason to complain, man. You can't be telling people that. That's ignorant, man. That is very ignorant. Very ignorant, and I can't stand when people do that, and a lot of people do that. A lot of people do that. Hence, if you came from a family that had a decent amount of money, everybody looking at you like, I wish my parents had this money. What you complaining about? So now that child feels as if they can never talk about anything. Because soon as they try to express themselves, and if it's in any way, shape, or form negative, then everybody looking at them like, what you complaining about? Or what you complaining for? Your people's got money. You don't have anything to complain about. You don't have no right to complain. Like, now you are setting that child back. That child is going to eventually suppress a lot of feelings and emotions because they get judged every time that they try to express themselves. You know, and that we can't do that, man. You cannot do that. You can't look at somebody's life and say, well, you grew up with this and I didn't have that. So therefore your life, you don't have anything to complain about. Be grateful. Don't work like that, man. Don't work like that. Don't work like that at all. If things did work like that, then everybody that was raised according to that, basically what you saying is everybody that was raised in a way that they had things that you didn't have growing up, they should turn out way better than you. And that's not the case. It's not the case at all. So we got to stop saying that, man. Or Clark, peace, what's happening? Eugene, 100%, you know, and we got social media that's pushing that a lot, making it easier for people to be focused on the lives of other folks. You know, but I don't like when people judge other people's situation and make it seem like they don't have the right to complain about something or the right to just be depressed about something. Man, y'all don't understand how depression works, man. Depression is deep, man. It's a lot of things that can alter your mind to that state. It's a lot of things that can factor into that, man. So when you just analyzing a person's upbringing or their life and saying, oh, well, you got this, then you should be happy, like it's not that simple, man. It's not that simple, man. And I wish things were that simple, but it's not that simple. You know, and then when you analyzing folks, and again, like I was talking about in the last stream, we think just because a person reaches a certain age that they supposed to be able to flip a switch and then they supposed to automatically mature. This is the way that a lot of black people are thinking. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, now you 20, so now all of a sudden you supposed to forget everything that has ever happened to you, flip this switch, and then you supposed to mature automatically or instantly. It's not how it works, man. I know plenty of 60-year-old immature folk. I know plenty of them. I know plenty of people. I know plenty of elders that are immature. You know what I'm saying? I know plenty of elders that lack the maturity. So again, why do we think somebody in their early 20s is supposed to be able to flip a switch and become mature all of a sudden? Just because they reached a certain age, a certain number. Like, come on, man. It's not that simple. It's not that simple. And that's what we are encouraging folks to do. Flip this switch. Forget about what happened to you. Forget about all the trauma. Forget about how you was traumatized. Forget about your upbringing. Flip that switch and keep it moving. Move on. You know, that's what we try to do. Oh, man, you too old. Or we try to force people to move on. And that's how we end up suppressing all these feelings and emotions, man. And we already know the science behind what suppressed feelings and emotions can do. You know, physically and mentally. Very unhealthy. Very unhealthy. But we live in a society to where that's the thing, man. You had your father in your life, you shouldn't be complaining. Or you had your mother in your life, you shouldn't be complaining. So now the child that has these type of issues, and they have issues, they don't feel like they can express themselves without being judged. Oh, your parent, you was brought up with two parents, and they made a nice amount of money. What you complaining about? So now that child can't have any problems. They supposed to be the perfect child. They supposed to be well balanced, not have any type of issue. Come on now. How does that make any sense? How does that make any sense? HG, peace, what's happening? Montel, for sure. Chris, what you say? Good way to create depression and haters is by teaching people to scroll social media all day and focus more on others than self-improvement. 100%. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening, man. People just scrolling. Man, I got people that have done that, man. They be on TikTok and they be seeing some of these fitness folks and they be getting discouraged because they'll be watching somebody on TikTok and they'll see their transformation. and be like, why is it taking me so long to transform my body? First of all, a lot of these folks on TikTok and Instagram not telling you the whole story. A lot of them, they got surgeries and things like that. You know, and they trying to sell you a package. But I done had clients like, man, why is it taking me so long to transform my body? And this person I watched on TikTok say it only took her a month or 2 months. It's like, man, we got to stop doing that. We got to stop doing it. Again, I'm not looking at folks on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and comparing my life to theirs. Oh, man, they got this many followers. Oh, man, I need to do this X, Y, and Z. Like, nah, I'm not on that. I'm not on that. Long as I stay committed to my self-improvement, I'm good. Everything gonna fall in line how it needs to. Everything gonna fall in line how it needs to. Like, for sure. You know, so I'm focused on myself. I'm focused on building up myself mentally and physically. When that's the objective, or when that's the mission, I'm good. Everything that's gonna happen or that needs to happen is gonna happen for me. LG for sure. Self-evaluation. You know what I'm saying? Self-evaluation is big. And I want to, man, I think I put the book up. But I had mentioned this book the last time, and I can't find it now. It's somewhere in here, man. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Don't look like it. Oh, no, here it go. But yeah, grab this book right here. Was the book I mentioned a few streams ago, The Power of Conflict. Speak your mind and get the results. Wait a minute. Yeah, get the results you want. So The Power of Conflict. Speak your mind and get the results you want. The Power of Conflict. The reason why that book is important in relevance to this subject matter is that as the black community, and then when you look at the black family, and as I said, we tend to sweep these issues under the rug. Like a lot of our, like the big issues, the major issues. Eugene Steele, yep, for sure. And like the main, like a lot of our main issues, we sweep them under the rug. We do not address them. And we just try to move on and hope everybody that was involved in whatever the situation was forgets about it. It's not healthy. So The Power of Conflict, in reading that book, it sheds light on the power of just resolving issues, man, and not being afraid to speak your mind in regards to a particular issue that you were not too fond of. In regards to people that you are close to, you got to be able to have these difficult conversations. And I got another book. It's called like Crucial Conversations or something like that. And it tells you how to have these difficult conversations. That was more so focused on like corporate America and just jobs and things like that. But you can still apply it to relationships, your family relationships and things like that. So it's very important. We got to learn how to have those difficult conversations. Say what needs to be said. Say what's on your mind, even if it's not the popular opinion or the popular thought. You got to be able to speak your piece, man. Biting your tongue. See, and when I said that, because I brought this up and a lot of people misunderstood or misinterpreted kind of what I was on when I talked about it the first time. Divine Focus, peace, what's happening? Sail Almighty, peace, what's happening? JB, for sure. Hey, you got to go backwards in order to move forward. Shout out to Sankofa Avenue for sure. You know, that's Sankofa for all that don't know. But, hold up. Okay, I thought I was missing something. But yeah, man, we got to learn how to resolve these conflicts, have these difficult conversations. And a lot of times we run from them, you know. I didn't been that person. When I initially brought it up and talked about being able to have these conversations and not bite your tongue, a lot of people was taking it as if like I'm telling people to just be confrontational. That's not necessarily what I mean. Of course, we not just gonna be having these type of conversations with any and everybody. First of all, you gotta assess the person. You gotta break down, you gotta evaluate this person. You gotta make sure that this person is going to be willing to listen to what it is that you have to say in regards to this whole power of conflict conversation. So if you are dealing with a person that you already know that they not going to be receptive to any type of information or any type of opinion coming from you, Don't even waste your time with a person like that. Don't do it. And in this book, it talks about that. You know what I'm saying? You got to assess the person before you had that complicated conversation with them. You know, so I'm going to analyze the situation, assess the person, and say, all right, I feel like I can have this difficult conversation with this person. I feel like now is the best time to have it. We got to learn how to do that. A lot of times we be trying to have these conversations at the wrong time when everybody is emotional. That's not the time to have the conversation. And that's what tends to happen when you sweep things under the rug. You sweep things under the rug, and the only time that they come out is when everybody is emotional, when everybody wants to argue, tempers flaring. Then now we want to bring up these issues and bring up these problems that we didn't suppress. Like, nah, we got to learn how to bring these problems to the surface when everybody is level-headed. That is how we resolve the conflict. That is how we get to the bottom or the root causes of issues. Then that's how we heal. That's how we elevate. That's how we build. But y'all know what I'm talking about, man. You got these suppressed emotions and feelings, and the only time they come out is when tempers are flaring. Like, for real. Boom, peace, what's happening? MC, what's happening? Chris, exactly. And I thought that was like common sense, or it should have went without saying. But when I talked about it, man, people was tripping like, nah, man, I'm good. I ain't going to be wasting my energy, man. It's pointless to be trying to have conversations with folks that's not trying to listen. I'm like, yeah, I'm not talking about them individuals, man. I'm not talking about them. You know, and first off, before you even start dishing that type of energy, make sure you are a listener. Make sure you don't fit the description of the person that you know what I'm saying, talking bad about. So when you start saying somebody else is not a good listener, make sure you are a solid listener. Because in that case, how can you criticize the person? Like I said, a lot of times, man, we are what we criticize. Or we are who we criticize. We constantly telling somebody they don't listen. You might need to look in the mirror. You might not be a good listener. You know, so when you start pointing the finger and saying, oh, such and such ain't going to listen, such and such ain't going to be receptive, make sure you're receptive to what it is that they have to say also. You know, so you can't just be getting mad at somebody else because they're not striving to understand where you coming from. Whole while you doing the same thing. You know, it's a difference when you receptive to what they saying, and you striving to understand what they saying, and they not reciprocating that energy, opposed to you not striving to understand, and then you mad that they not striving to understand. They just reciprocating that energy. You know? So we got to be mindful of that too, man. When you criticize somebody else, make sure you don't fit that same exact description. Work on yourself first before you start criticizing others, man. So I'm going to make sure I'm striving to understand you before I criticize you and say you're not trying to do the same for me. You know, and that's a crucial part in regards to addressing issues. You know, make sure you a good listener. Make sure you striving to comprehend all of that good stuff. Make sure that that's happening first. Make sure you level-headed. Make sure you cool, calm, and collected and all of that great stuff. Make sure that that's happening, man. Make sure you in that state. And then it's like, all right, let me assess this other person. Let me assess this other person after I assess myself. A lot of times we skip the self-assessment part and we go right to the other people. We want to tell somebody else what they did wrong. We too quick to do that. But when it comes to just evaluating ourselves and figuring out where we went wrong, like we not on that. But they can quickly tell you what you did wrong. Like, we got to stop living like that, man. We got to stop living like that for sure, man. And a lot of people be on that type of vibe, man. Like, I'm going to evaluate myself first. Then I'm going to evaluate you, man. When I make sure I done crossed all my T's and dotted all my I's, okay, now I can move on to the other people that was involved in the issue. So I got to make sure, all right, man, let me acknowledge my role in it. You know, look in the mirror and say, all right, man, this is what I did wrong. Let me improve on that. And then once I make that stride, then I'm like, all right, I'm going to talk to the other people that was involved. Like, listen, you know, we had this situation. This is where I went wrong, and this is what I'm striving to do to work on it. But here's what I didn't like in regards to how you approached me in that situation. And you just got to go ahead and tell that truth and be honest and upfront. You know, and that's what it is, man. A lot of people, man, as they say in the black community, people can't handle the truth. And it is what it is, man. I'm one of those outspoken individuals. I done always been that. You know, when I was little, I was always speaking my mind, you know. I didn't care. I was gonna speak my mind. I don't care who feelings it hurt, you know. And after doing it so often and just getting into it, everybody, of course, like the presentation, you know what I'm saying, was probably not the best back as a kid. Like I was coming at like I'm a youngin and I'm questioning adults and stuff like that. Y'all know how that go. That never sits well with the adults, man. So I always, you know what I'm saying, I would get in trouble because of that. So enough of that happening, then that's when I started to suppress a lot of my thoughts and feelings and things like that. Because every time I would speak my mind and say what was really on my mind, I would get shunned for being a kid. Oh, you too young. You don't know what you talking about. Don't you question your elders. Don't you question these adults and things like that. So that happening to me early in the game led to me saying, all right, man, I'm just going to go ahead and be quiet. Because every time I say something, it leads to an argument or it leads to me getting in some type of trouble. So that's what led to me initially just shutting down, suppressing feelings and just not expressing myself to my fullest capacity. Because every time I did it, man, it led to something that was negative. You know, and all I would be telling people was like, man, I'm just being truthful. I'm just telling the truth. I'm just saying how I truly feel. You know, I didn't feel like it was any harm in that. You know, if I feel like I said some facts or I spoke some facts in relation to my life and my perspective, like I didn't feel like anything was wrong with that, even as a 10-year-old. You know, I didn't care who I was talking to, but I felt like if you said something and I didn't feel like it was factual and it had something to do with my life and I corrected you, I didn't feel like that was a problem. You know? So I didn't have a problem like saying certain things to certain people. You know, and that initially got me in trouble and whatnot. You know, people couldn't handle that. But it is what it is. It is what it is, man, especially with the approach, man, especially with the way I probably went about it a lot of times, man. Like I like spoke my mind. Like I spoke my mind. I wasn't really that fearful of like authority at the time. Like I was going to speak my mind regardless. You know, if you said something that I didn't like, I was going to pretty much respond to it. I was going to let you know that I did not like what you just said, and it was false. And here's how it is. Like, here's the truth. You know, so I couldn't stand people trying to speak as if they knew me. Like I couldn't stand that type of stuff, man. Don't speak as if you know me, and then don't try to dictate how I should feel. Don't try to tell me how I should feel about something. Those are some things I could never stand. Like when somebody trying to tell me how I should feel and respond to something. Like, nah, don't do that. You know, don't do that at all. Chris, what's happening? Kenyatta, peace, what's happening? Oh, Chris, for sure. Y'all already know my story about being online, you know, having multiple Facebook pages get deleted. And it is what it, and I've been through that too, Chris. Hey, long story short, I say people say that then proceed to tell a long story. But so a little backstory behind that, man, that's how I felt about just doing things for my people. You know, I was like, man, like just writing books and things like that, man. I ain't want to, it was just certain things I ain't even want to write about because I was just like, man, people they not going to appreciate it the way I feel like it should be appreciated. You know, like I said, for the most part, we are rather gravitate towards some other nonsense, you know. So you know, for the longest, I'm studying my ancestors, man, the people that put in great work, you know, and a lot of them had to die almost in poverty. And they put their life on the line doing extensive research to help black people figure out their roots and who they are, where they came from. And these people do not get the appreciation and recognition that I feel like they should get. So I started wrestling with that when I was just striving to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I was like, man, but if I start telling these type of truths, this is how it's going to be received based off of me studying a lot of my ancestors, man, and a lot of my elders who I respect. You know, so I didn't wrestle with that a lot. You know, posting certain things, man, and having people, which is why I said what I said the other day, in regards to posting the truth. You know, being real and you not having to remove people from your life when you do that because they gonna remove themselves. And that's what I be on, man. I just, hey, tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell people how you really feel. People gonna start disconnecting from you just off of the strength of that. I'm living reality of that. You know, I get on social media, real life. I'm gonna tell you the truth, and you're not gonna like it. And you do that so many times, man. People stop coming around you, or they stop bringing up certain topics when you are around. They gonna delete themselves from your social media, all that type of good stuff. And I'm talking about the people that do that. It don't be the people that you don't know. Like the people that you don't know on social media be cool with you. They stay around. It be the people that you know personally that be removing themselves, that be deleting themselves. You know what I'm saying? It be them individuals. And that be the funny part. People that like personally know you. Be mad that you evolving. You know what I'm saying? Be mad that you on something else. Be mad that you thinking differently than when you were 16, 17. Now they can't stand to see you on a different vibe. So now they remove themselves. Like, that's sick. Like, it's sick. But that's what it is. That's what it is, man. I know for a fact. And it is what it is. I know for a fact, though, when I first was on Facebook going hard, a lot of family members was tapped in to my page, but they wasn't saying nothing. I know you tapped in because you my friend. You know what I'm saying? Or you following my page. So I know you see everything I'm posting. I know you checking on it. What they would do instead of address me, they'd go talk to my peoples, like my pops and moms or something like that, asking questions. Instead of talking to me directly. I can't stand that, you know? And when people do that, man, you losing respect for me, man. If you want to know something, ask me. You know what I'm saying? Ask me. Ask the source, especially if we so-called fam, bro. Ask me. Don't go gossip behind my back. Like, don't do that. So when I started making certain changes in my life, I already knew that was happening. You know, and I feel like that was lame, man. And people never talk. They never asked me the questions. Like, these same people never addressed me. They trying to get all this information from secondhand sources that really still don't know the truth. You know, if you want to know something, man, just ask the source, man. If you want to know something, go to the source and ask the source the question. So it is what it is at that point, man. But I done had that happen plenty of times. Like, don't do that. Like, don't do that at all. I feel like that's whack, you know, because y'all ain't got no problem with contacting other family members, but then when it come to somebody that's on a different vibe, now y'all like, hold up, we gonna contact somebody else and not him. You know, and then when I see stuff like that, man, that's when I tap out. That's when I remove myself. That's when I distance myself. I'm good. I'm good on that, man, because I'm not doing that. I'm not looking at family members' pages and be like, what they own. You know what I'm saying? Because for like, how can I do that when I don't like that being done to me? You know, but man, listen, I done had some of everything, man. Family members making subliminal posts. You know what I'm saying? Like, you posting something, next thing you know, you see a family member talking bad about something, like a subject that you just posted about with an opposing view. And it's like that. That's how you feel. Like, you ain't have to be subliminal about it. You ain't have to be indirect. We family, man. Like, family have disputes. Don't do me like that, though. You know? So, it is what it is. It is what it is, man. I done been that family member that then tried to get everybody in the family healthy. To the point now where I don't even care no more. Like, when family members talking to me about health problems, I don't even care. Like, I don't care to give advice. I don't care to be as passionate about it as I was back in the day when I first was coming across the information. I don't care, because at this point, man, I done gave y'all the game. At this point, y'all choosing to be unhealthy. Y'all must like the lifestyle of being unhealthy. Because, man, I done already told y'all what's up, you know? So I don't even care anymore at this point. Oh, such and such foot is messed up. Whatever, man. You know what I'm saying? Such and such got gout. Like, man, we done already told y'all what to do. I feel like family members such as myself, man, people appreciate family members such as myself when we gone. Like, when they realize, like, dag, man, dude was just trying to help us. Like, at the end of the day, somebody like me, that's all we trying to do. We just trying to help you. We just trying to get you to reach your fullest potential. Yet you want to shun that family member, but you will go out with drink. You will go out for drinks. You will go out for drinks with a family member. But then a family member that's telling you to drink smoothies and work out, you trying to hide from that one. But you will go get some drinks with your other family members. Think nothing of it. So the family members that's leading you to that early grave, you cool with. Y'all gonna go to this early grave together, but the family member that's trying to keep you away from the grave, you trying to hide from them. You don't want to have a conversation with them. That's the type of stuff I be talking about. That's the type of stuff that I be talking about. Oh, we finna go out for drinks. Y'all willing to do that? Y'all quick to go do that and have the worst conversations, lacking all substance. But then soon as somebody like me come around with a book or two, and we telling you to drink this smoothie, eat these fruits, eat these vegetables. Oh, here you go. All right. Once a person like myself, and this is how I'm wired, and it's a lot of people wired like that, but once a person like myself decide to be done with stuff like that, we be done with stuff like that. Like, we be done. Like, man, when I make my mind up and say I ain't even about to stress over it no more, I don't. Once it's made up in my mind, I don't, man. If I didn't try to communicate with you more than 2-3 times, if I didn't told you the truth more 2 or 3 times, man, and you not receptive to it, I'm not about to continue to waste any more time. So then when you start coming to me with the same problems, like, that's when I draw the line between that power of conflict. You don't want to be healthy. I done had to tell some people that. I done had to tell some people, you don't want to be healthy. Because I done told you what to do and you ain't doing it. So I had to tell some people straight up, you don't want to be healthy. You like being sick. So stop talking to me. Like, straight up, I done had to tell some folks that. Like, stop complaining to me about some things that I done tried to help you with. And you ain't did none of the things that I suggested. So nah, I don't want to hear none of that. Don't come to me complaining about that, because I'm going to tell you that you do not want to be healthy. You do not want to get well, and you like being sick. You like being unhealthy. Stop talking to me. That's how I have to talk to people after I done tried to give them the game several times and they ignore it. They not receptive to it. Stop talking to me. Don't complain about that around me any longer, because I done tried to help you out. You wasn't receptive. You wasn't listening. So you like whatever that condition is that you're struggling with, you must like it. You must like that condition. You must like that struggle. You must want to embrace it. So I'm not going to stop you. I ain't giving you no more game. You know, and that's how you got to be with them. Fam, I don't want to keep hearing that. You're not about to bring me down after I done tried to help you 5, 6, 7 times. Nah, I done told you what to do and you're not doing it. So I'm not one of them ones that's going to keep going out of my way to try to fix the situation for another person, for a family member. Not going to do it. Or friend, or whatever y'all want to call. I'm not going to continue to go out of my way, man, because I didn't did it. When I've given you the information, like the passion behind it, and you ain't appreciate it, I'm going to keep it pushing. I'm going to direct that energy in a direction of somebody that's going to appreciate it. Big Shamu, what's happening? You know, so I done had to learn to speak my piece in that regard and never sweep that under the rug. When I done tried to help folk and they still come back to me complaining and crying, I done had to learn how to just address them people in that manner. Just blunt with it. Like, man, I told you what to do. You choosing not to do it. So stop talking to me. Stop complaining about that. Because at this point, you choosing to do what's wrong. I done told you the ramifications behind these bad decisions, and you continue to make them. So at this stage in the game, it's all on you. Those are the conversations that I be having to have these days, man. I ain't got time for it. Like, I'm not going like this power of conflict book. Like, I'm not going to have these difficult conversations every time you bring a problem my way. Nah. Nope. Once I speak my mind, once I say my piece, and I said what I said and I meant what I said, or I tried to help you, I tried to give you the game and the information, and you choose to sweep it under the rug or ignore it, that's on you. The rest is up to you. I ain't going to stress it. I I ain't gonna stress it at all. And that's another thing, man. Once you say what needs to be said to a person, like once you say your piece or speak your piece, whatever they choose to do with it is on them. When you get everything off your chest, like you good. Like, and I've had to realize that, man, once I get everything off my chest, man, I'm good. I'm moving on, I'm moving forward. I'm not gonna sit around and wait for that person to address the things that I said. Like, nah, I gave y'all this information, I spoke my piece. I spoke my piece, and it is what it is. Brian, what's happening? What you talking about, a walking contradiction? Because if you talking about it in the sense of me looking at a situation and saying, all right, I'm not about to continue to address it, I spoke on that earlier about assessing a situation and assessing a person. Mind you, I told you that if I address the person 5, 6, 7 times, then at that particular point, now it's evident in my mind that this person is not receptive to what it is that I have to say, and the advice that I have to offer, things like that. This is after addressing a person on numerous occasions, so that's not contradictory. You know what I'm saying? If I didn't address you numerous times and you shun me, you know what I'm saying, condemn me, and you talking crazy and you're not receptive and you're not listening, then it's like at that point, now I have my information. Now I'm able to look at that same person and say, I'm not going to waste my time now. It's no sense in trying to communicate with that person. Opposed to a person that I have been talking to and I give them some game and they've tried to implement the advice, but they may have struggled to implement it, or they may have implemented the wrong way, or whatever the case may be. At least I know they receptive to it. They receptive to what it is that I'm saying. Now I would address a situation with that particular person. You know, but not a person that I have addressed on numerous occasions, and it's like it go in one ear and out the other. Like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna keep wasting time on that particular person, like, at all. And then outside of that, when I speak my piece in regards to, let's just say, issues, you had a rift with a family member, like a bad situation occurred between you and a family member, and you got everything off your chest. You spoke your piece, and the person that you had the problem with, they chose to ignore what you said. They didn't address what you said. Well, since I spoke my piece, I'm not about to sit around and wait for you to speak yours. You gonna have to address me whenever you feel like you're ready. You can speak your piece whenever you're ready, but I said what I said, and you chose to not continue on that conversation because I may have said something that hurt your feelings that you didn't like at that particular moment. But I meant what I said, and I said what I said. But I'm not going to sit around and wait for somebody. I'm not going to wait for that closure, as I have said in the past. And a lot of people do that, sitting around waiting for closure. Like, nah, I said what I said. You might not have liked what I said and how I said it, but I still meant it. I still meant exactly what I said. So now I'm good. I got this off my chest. So that's my closure. Me saying what needed to be said. I don't really care how you receive it at that point. I said what I needed to say. We had a problem, and I'll let you know why I had the problem with what you did, and I'll let you know where I went wrong in it and what I'm going to work on, and you chose to ignore it. That's on you. That's on you, and that happens a lot. That happens, man. I'm talking about that happens a lot, especially in the black community. A lot of times it's like both parties ignoring the situation and not trying to, and not, I'm about to say not trying to move on, but moving on, forgetting about it, suppressing it, and all of that. You know, but we got to stop that. Like I said, I've been the outspoken one. I have always been the one that I'm gonna just say what's on my mind. Like, I didn't like what you said, so let me address it. That's always been like my energy and my vibe for a long time. And then eventually I got to a point where it was like I just started realizing a lot of people around me wasn't necessarily receptive to a lot of things, man, and wasn't striving to gain any type of understanding. So when I got wind of that type of vibe, I'm just like, all right, I'm cooling. Like, I'm a cool on out and talking to certain folk. You know, when you've been knowing some people for your entire life, like you just kind of know them now. Like, man, I ain't gonna waste my time with cuz over here, man. Like, cuz don't be trying to listen. Cuz don't be trying to comprehend anything that's being said. I've been around cuz for 31 years, so I kind of know him at this point. I'm not gonna have this conversation with cuz. I'm not gonna have this conversation with my sister. I'm not gonna have this conversation with my brother because I already know. And a lot of times we be trying to give people the benefit of the doubt because of their relation to us. I ain't doing that. Listen, if your mom, like if that's your mom's, but you done had conversation after conversation with your moms in regards to certain subjects, and she ain't receptive, it's like at some point you got to realize, like, my mom just ain't gonna listen. She ain't listening to what I'm saying in regards to this particular subject, in regards to this particular topic. She just ain't trying to hear what I got to say. So I'm just not gonna have this type of conversation with her, because I done been knowing her my whole life, and she ain't trying to listen to me in regards to this. So it's a waste of time to bring up this topic. You know, because it's one thing when both parties are trying to make things work in regards to communication. But when you just got one party doing all the work, when I'm striving to understand your side, but you not striving to understand my side, like that's a recipe for disaster, man. So both parties got to do some work. Like both parties got to do some work, man. You gotta strive to hear me out, do the knowledge to some of the things that I'm talking about, and vice versa. Vice versa, man. Hey, I'm gonna give y'all a prime example. The whole pandemic, whatever you want to call it. Man, when I would tell people out the gate, when people ask me did I get a vaccine and I say no, they automatically had this this perception of me. Oh, anti-vaxxer, things like that. So it's almost like some zodiac sign nonsense. It's like soon as I said I'm not getting a vaccine, it's like they already feel like they know the exact type of person that I am. Instead of trying to understand why I'm saying that I'm not going to get it. So for the longest, I'm listening to folks that are pro-vaccine. I have got books telling you why you should get vaccine. So I'm understanding the other side, which is why I was able to make the type of decision that I made to not get one, because I'm researching both sides. You know what I'm saying? So it's like instantly when I tell somebody I'm not getting a vaccine, they think the first assumption that they make is that you're not educated on how vaccines work. So they think you ignorant to that information. I can make the same assumption. You know what I'm saying? I can make the same assumption, because soon as when I ask folks what's in the vaccine that you got, they don't know, most of them. So I can make that same assumption. You know what I'm saying? But that was the first thing. And then they start talking about conspiracies and things like that. I can't stand that. You know, Brian, you say, why didn't you get the vaccine? First, the main reason why I didn't get the vaccine is because there was no need to get it. When you start talking about, and we just gonna veer off subject for a moment because this is easy for me to break down. First of all, it's no need for me to get the vaccine. There is another approach, an alternative approach to keeping your immune system intact. And when we're talking about something like COVID, that is something that's attacking your immune system. So when your immune system is the target, then you want to do things that build the immune system. We got a lot of foods, we got a lot of health practices that we can implement that will build up the immune system, that will make it hard for COVID or that virus to do damage even if you get it. The same promise that they made for people getting the vaccine. Oh, if you get the vaccine, it decreases your chances of dying if you get the virus, or it decreases your chances of becoming seriously ill. This is the same. Listen, it's the same thing for a person that's telling you to eat healthy. It is going to decrease your chances of dying when you get a virus, and it's going to decrease the impact of the virus. When you get a virus like that, these viruses thrive in toxic environments. So if you have a toxic environment and you come across a virus and that virus makes its way into your system, it's going to cause damage because your inside is toxic. You have a toxic internal environment. If you do not have a toxic internal environment, yes, you can still get the virus, but it will not be as damaging. So if I can opt for, if I eat this way, if I fast, if I exercise, and I'm building up my immune system, that's going to make it less likely that I get a virus. But then if I get the virus, it's not going to be as damaging, opposed to going to get a vaccine that nobody knows what it will do to you. I'm going to go for the safer route here. For one, because I am one of them individuals that I would have a bad reaction or response to a vaccine. I know my body. And this was a guinea pig situation in regards to this vaccine. So I didn't want to participate in that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to participate in that guinea pig-like experiment when I done been studying nutrition long enough to know if you eat this way, if you fast like this, if you exercise like this, then that's just as good. Just as good. I'm vaccine free right now and I've been living great. You know what I'm saying? So again, in order for me to get something like that, it's got to be life or death. Meaning if I don't get this, then it's going to be sure that I die. Brian, don't get me started on the CDC and things that they deem as safe. Listen, you can go in the grocery store right now and all of those foods have been approved by FDA. Man, listen, all of like these foods that are in the grocery stores right now, 80-90% of that stuff is not safe. But yet we still going, it's still out here in the stores, it's still approved and all of this type of nonsense. The CDC saying something is approved and safe means absolutely nothing to me. Absolutely nothing to me. It means absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. You got countries right now that they ban food, like they ban additives in their foods that we still have in the United States today. Like you go to certain like European countries, they have banned certain food additives. Like it's certain food additives that cannot be included in their foods that we still continue to consume in the United States. Like literally, you go to other countries, man, it's certain additives, certain chemicals that they will not allow in the foods that have been banned. But here in the great old US of A, we still have those food additives and chemicals in these foods. Like, nah, I don't care what they deem as safe. Man, they had a food pyramid telling us it's okay to drink cow's milk when 80-90% of black people are lactose intolerant. I don't care nothing about what they say about safety. You know, and I got the book right here, Bad Blood. Great book. Great book that talks about the Tuskegee experiment. I don't trust folk. The Tuskegee experiment. You know these folks got the listen. They listen, man. I ain't even finna get into that. Y'all know all about it, but I ain't finna get into that, man. Go just grab this book. Just grab this book. Because they knew, like, I'm not signing up to be no guinea pig, man. I'm just not signing up to be that, especially if there's an alternative route. You know what I'm saying? If there's an alternative route for me, sign me up for that. Where the side effect is good health. Like, what's the worst that can happen, fam? Let's weigh the pros and cons here. If I get a vaccine and you tell me, hey, you can have an adverse reaction to this vaccine, or we don't know what this vaccine is going to do long term. We don't know the long term damage that will be caused by this vaccine. We just don't know. Because how can you know something when you have not experimented on people with it? So how you gonna come out with a vaccine for the first time and act like you know that it's safe? How can you know that? You haven't experimented on it with anybody, man. You don't know. You have not conducted any type of scientific experiment to say this is safe. You do not know that. So the very first people that are getting this vaccine are your test dummies. How can you tell me a vaccine is safe when it has not been tested on people? I'm not rocking with that. I'm not rocking with that. You telling me something is safe, but we finna get injected with it for the first time. No. Whole while we got book after book that's letting you know the effects of vitamin C. They got studies on if you eat vitamin C, if you eat enough foods containing vitamin C, vitamin D, all of this type of stuff. We got experiments. We got tests that have been conducted that's saying if you eat this, then this what happens to your immune system. So I'm gonna roll with that. I'm gonna roll with that. But if we got something that's saying, hey, if you get this, we really don't know what's gonna happen to you, versus if you eat this way, the worst thing that can happen is you just get healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the worst that can happen if I start fasting, if I start eating more fruits and vegetables, drinking more smoothies, drinking fruit juices, vegetable juices, go raw for some days? What's the worst that can happen? Oh, you get healthy. Like, that's the worst that can happen. I'm going to go with that option. The side effect of eating clean. Brian, the president, the puppet president of the United States. Come on now. Come on, Brian. Come on now. Come on. Now, Brian. Come on now. That's the equivalent of hey, that's the equivalent of these athletes. You know what I'm saying? Like LeBron James or something doing a Sprite commercial and don't drink Sprite. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. We don't take none of that serious. We don't take none of that serious. Like, we don't take any of that serious. LeBron James and them out here doing a McDonald's commercial and won't feed their kids McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? They did that for the check. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, we don't take none of that serious. What they say, believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. But yeah, man, when I would tell people about a year ago that I ain't getting no vaccine, I ain't getting it, you know, they was looking at me crazy. It's like that you got judged. Now it's a little, don't nobody ask you that now. But hey, when I used to speak my piece back then, Brian, you say you don't trust the president's opinion. Nope. Not at all. I don't trust any one man's opinion. For one, presidents have ghostwriters. You know what I'm saying? So if the president makes a speech, somebody wrote the speech. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna research everything that the president is saying. I don't accept any one man's opinion. You know, I don't trust any one man's opinion. I'm gonna research the opinion thoroughly and reach a conclusion. But no, I don't trust the president's opinion. You know, again, I'm not, like, when it comes to politics, man, I got another good book, man, because y'all be bringing up stuff and it be right here, man. This book like 20 pages. And here you go. Milton Friedman, to say why government is the problem. And I got other books, you know what I'm saying, talking about the government. But this like a little 20-page book, man. And it's just like some essays about why the government is the problem. And it kind of goes into that, Brian, in regards to why I don't trust the president's opinion. You know, and they talk about presidents and they talk about all these political leaders. Basically, they are protecting the interests of the people that funded their campaign, or the people that's putting money, the people that put money into their campaign, and the people that's just kind of funding how they move, and they protecting the interests of those groups. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't trust these folks' opinions. You know, so I'm not too fond of presidents and a lot of these political folk, because they only gonna serve the interests of the people that's putting the money behind them, like, flat out. Rightfully so. You know what I'm saying? If this group of people is putting $50 million in your pocket, yeah, you probably gonna protect. You probably, whatever it is they tell you to protect, you probably gonna protect it. Especially if nobody else is paying you. So if they putting food on your table and they tell you, hey, if somebody talk bad about this, I'm gonna need for you to say this, or I'm gonna just need for you to say this in general to make us appear better than what we really are. I got several books on that in regards to nutrition and the food industry. You know, and you got like the meat industry, the dairy industry, and how they got a lot of money and they paid off a lot of politicians to push a certain type of message. Man, the book that I just brought up, Manipulating the Masses, man, it all talks about that. Certain groups paying off certain magazines and things like that to put certain articles in there to push a certain agenda. This is real in the field. Like, it's really real. Like I said, in due time, we gonna show forth the evidence, man. In due time, that's gonna happen. In due time, I'm gonna break all this down and just give y'all all the evidence verbatim, man. But like I said, this book that I brought up, is a great book, Manipulating the Masses, man. It's about 600 pages, and that's what it's about. That's what it's about. You know, so I don't trust these politicians, man. I don't trust these political folk. Brian, that's what they supposed to do, but that's not what they doing. Like, for real. That's not what they doing, Brian. Like, for real. Just straight up. You know what I'm saying? Like, the government is not protecting our natural freedom at all. If they was protecting our natural freedom, Brian, why can't I come on here and talk about the vaccine in a negative way without getting my video taken down? Why do I got one strike against me all because I was trying to educate people on the opposing view in regards to why I'm not getting a vaccine? Why when I did that, I got one strike against me and they threatened to get rid of my channel? If we protecting our natural freedoms, why can't I get on here and say whatever it is that I want to say without getting threatened to take my channel down, delete my channel for good? It's called informed consent, Brian. How can you have informed consent when they not letting you hear the other side? Informed consent means I'm able to hear side A and I'm able to hear side B, and then I'm able to make a decision based off of the information given to me from both sides. Nah, I made a few videos about the vaccine, Brian, and they all deleted. And I got one strike and I got a few warnings for doing so. So nah, who are they protecting, fam? They are we already know who they protecting. Any and everybody that made a video against the vaccine, it got deleted, it got banned, and these people channels got deleted, and people got threatened, they got strikes, they got warnings. How you protecting my freedom and I can't inform my people? That don't even make any sense, Brian. Like, seriously. Yeah, man. I've been had that strike. This was back in the days, back in the COVID days, man, when everything was real. And I spoke on that vaccine, man. They gave me a strike so quick. And then after that, they deleted, man, like 3-4 of my videos, man. It was crazy. And I'm talking about, okay, they gave me that strike, right? And then like months later, they started deleting videos that was like a year old. You know what I'm saying? So it was like they gave me the strike, bow. Months went on, boom, I had the strike. Man, they started deleting videos that I had did a year ago, like years ago, or some months ago. All of a sudden, they just started deleting them. So it was crazy. And then started sending me warnings. Like, it was crazy. Brian, why should I have to speak in code when I'm not saying anything that's harmful? Brian, it's not like I'm telling everybody to go storm the White House and go kill everybody. I'm simply telling people to fast, eat fruits and vegetables, eat raw foods, exercise. I'm not saying anything that's harmful, Brian. Why should I have to code that? That don't even make any sense. Why should I have to speak in code when all I'm telling people is, hey, you don't have to get a vaccine because if you fast, that'll build up your immune system. If you eat fruits and vegetables, that can also help you. Why am I having to speak in code? That's ridiculous. But yet you telling me this country is protecting my freedoms, but if I tell people to eat fruits and vegetables, I gotta get a strike. But people can show people getting murdered on this same platform and they don't get a strike? Come on, fam. That ain't making any sense to me, man. You gotta come with a stronger argument than that, fam. I gotta speak in code, but people can have whole videos up folks getting killed. They can have whole videos up half-naked women and ain't nobody getting a strike, but I get a strike for telling people to eat fruits and vegetables? Nah, y'all can miss me with that. Nope. It sounds like they are protecting a certain interest. You know what I'm saying? And again, in this book, Manipulating the Masses, they talk about it. In his book, Why Government is the Problem, he's talking about it. Straight up. I got to speak in code because I'm trying to tell people how to eat right. Nah, man, I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to code my language. I ain't saying nothing harmful. I ain't telling y'all to go assassinate a president. I ain't said none of that. Now, if I said something like that, yeah, we got to speak in code. Man, I'm just telling people to exercise, eat right. And I'm talking to black people. Nah, that's dead. But I got to speak in code, so now we're going to justify, you need to speak in code. I shouldn't have to do that. If this government was all righteous and right and exact, I shouldn't have to do that. I should be able to say what I'm saying. Matter of fact, I shouldn't even have to do that because they should be giving you the information. But they not. If this government was all righteous and right and exact, then they'd be giving you the same information I'm giving you. But we know why they're not doing that. You know, so we know what it is, man. This government is not they not protecting our freedom. You know what I'm saying? They not doing that. They not doing it at all. They not doing it at all. You know, and when you analyze every system that we deal with, there's no way that you can look at all of the systems, from the school system, from the judicial system, from media. When you look at all of these systems, you could not sit there and say that they really care about us and they protecting our freedoms. Nah, you can't say that. You can't say that. When you analyze everything, when you analyze all of those systems, man, we can't say that. We can't say that. How many of our brothers and sisters have fallen at the hand of the popo, and what happened? Brian, again, what rhetoric and controversy when all I'm telling you is to eat healthy? They came out with their food pyramid. They preach healthy eating. They just say things differently than I'm saying. They just got different recommendations. So it is what it is. I shouldn't have to do that. I should not have to speak in code in regards to telling you too fast. Shouldn't have to do that. If we talking about the immune system, literally, fam, literally, I put out not only did I put out a video, but I made a Facebook post about how vitamin D, how increasing your vitamin D, I made a status linking your vitamin D intake to boosting your immune system, and they called it medical misinformation. What code is there to speak in, bro? Vitamin D. The link between vitamin D and boosting your immune system is all I had mentioned. Oh, medical misinformation. That is not medical misinformation. You know how many, man, listen, you know how many scientists, you know how many studies have been conducted in regards to vitamin D and your immune system? But I mentioned those. They took the post down from Facebook, said that's medical misinformation, and I got thrown in jail for 7 days for saying something about the link between vitamin D and your immune system. I got thrown in Facebook jail, and they told me I was pushing medical misinformation. Nah. Like, at that point, the government is trash. You know what I'm saying? At that point, your government is trash when they are allowing things like that to happen. If I can't say something, but if I can't link vitamin D to building the immune system without getting thrown in Facebook jail, without people threatening me and say, oh, we gonna ban your channel, all that, nah. We know what type of society we living in at that particular point, fam. Dread Mike for sure. I never had a flu shot, and I never had the flu. You know what I'm saying? Like, never had the flu shot. And then, I don't know if y'all saw it, but they done already told y'all. I seen some articles, they were saying that this is about to be one of the worst seasons for the flu. Brian, it ain't even about that. What I'm saying, I'm going off your original statement in regards to the government protecting my freedoms. What I'm saying is, if they were protecting my freedoms, Brian, I shouldn't have to speak in code for getting people healthy. That's what I'm saying. We ain't talking about if I spoke in code, would they mess with me or not. We already know that. And even still, they gonna find a way. We can go back to the jail system. I got books on my culture, the 5%. And since the 5%ers was speaking in code in the prison system, they banned them from speaking that language. They couldn't speak the supreme mathematics in jail because they didn't understand what they were saying. So they didn't like the fact that black men in prison were speaking in this code, so they banned them. They said, if you get caught speaking this language, speaking in this code, then we gonna do this to you. So when they don't understand what you're talking about, they don't like that. So they oh man, what y'all talking about? What's today's mathematics? What do you mean? Y'all can't speak that. Y'all can't talk like that in this prison. And if y'all do, y'all gonna solitary confinement. Y'all get thrown in a hole. Like, this is real. So this is real in the field. They was throwing my brothers in the hole for speaking for speaking not even in their code, but speaking their language. But since they didn't understand it, they was like, nah, we can't have this. I need for you to speak in a term in which I can understand it. So I'm like, okay. So even when we speak in code, they gonna tap in because they don't understand what we saying, Ryan. So if Big Brother is tapped in and they don't understand what we saying, that's also a problem. That's more of a problem is if they understand. At least if they understand, it's like, all right, cool. But when they don't understand it, they really think something is going on. Man, what they talking about? So either way it go, they gonna tap in like they don't understand what they talking about. W. Atkins for sure. Appreciate that donation. And I got the joint off Amazon. That mug just came in today, man. I'm tapped in, man. It's pretty good thus far, man. Pretty good. Brian, so now we gonna have to get okay, Brian. So we gonna have to tap into how you are defining freedom. I'm going to define freedom according to their constitution. I'm going to define freedom according to their constitution, and if I'm defining it in those terms, then that we don't have the freedom. If you finna tell me I have the freedom of speech, freedom of press, all of these free, if you gonna tell me that I'm able to do these things, but then when I do them, then it's a penalty, and you didn't incorporate that into your constitution, that's not freedom. It's not free. Like, that's not, you can't tell me I have the freedom to say what I want to say, but then when I say what I want to say, you punch me in the mouth. Like, that's like me and you coming, having a conversation man to man. I say, you free to say whatever you want. You free to say whatever you want, however you feel, man. I'm not gonna feel any type of way. I'm not gonna do X, Y, Z till you free to have your own opinion. Then as soon as you say what's on your mind, I just punch you, I beat you into, you know what I'm saying? Like, I beat you into the ground. Like, that don't even make any sense. Like, nah. You're not free to say whatever you want to say. Listen, if you say X, Y, Z, then it's gonna lead to this. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, it's conditions behind that. What America likes to do is give you the illusion that you have freedom. That's what America does. They want to get, it's an illusion. It's an illusion. They didn't try to make America look like the greatest place to be by giving this illusion of freedom. Like, yeah, y'all got all these freedoms, but we really do not, though. How many political free Mumia, matter of fact, you know what I'm saying? Free Mumia, you know. But we got a lot of folk that had to serve, that's serving time in prison right now simply because of their political opinion. So I got this. So if I got freedom of speech, freedom of press, but then I gotta serve, I gotta get locked up, serve a life sentence, spend all my life in prison because of my opinion. Man, I got George Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Like, just George Jackson. Look him up. Look up his penalty. That didn't deserve any of the time that it got. But since he was George Jackson, and since he had the mind that he had, he got that type of sentence. Come on now. Antonio, my brother, peace, what's happening? Oh, Dread, for sure. Everybody that comes from overseas, I know some African, but man, my African brothers that I train tell me every time, they was like, listen, the food here is garbage. He's like, every ounce of food here is garbage. Even the food that we think is fresh here in the States, he was like, man, when you go back to Africa, he's like, the food is so much better. He was like, this food is so contaminated. You know what I'm saying? It's just oversaturated with a bunch of nonsense. Man, my African brothers, my Jamaican brothers, man, when they come here, they be like, man, this food is garbage. Even the fruits and vegetables, all of it. They do not like it. Lily, peace for sure. Brian, again, we have created our coded language and backed by core principles. We have a lot of cultures that have done this. I'm part of one. When I speak on today's mathematics, the average white person don't know what I'm talking about. The average black person don't know what I'm talking about. So we have a lot of cultures that have this. But then what happens? But then what happens when we try to coexist, or when we try to exist in this racist structure that we have? What happens when you have somebody such as myself that comes from a black culture with a coded language, and then they get wind of that coded language that we speaking in code? You talking about nosy white folks, nosy Karen, nosy Connor. They gonna look into this coded language. They gonna listen. They gonna try to involve themselves in this coded language. It's only gonna remain coded for so long, Brian, before nosy Karen tries to decipher it. But we got plenty of organizations, we got plenty of groups that can speak in this code, that has this coded language. As I said, when my brothers in the 5% was locked up and they were speaking the language, they got mad at them and was like, look, if you talk like this, we gonna throw you in the hole. Then when you take it to the so-called free world and you speaking in this language, then now all of a sudden you're getting banned from platforms. All type of stuff is going on. So I can't even speak in the code because when I do it, it's getting banned, it's getting silenced and all of that. So it's like, all right, now what? Then when we start our own communities and try to live according to these principles, look what happened to Move in Philly. They bombed the whole entire community and kill most of the folk. So at this point, speaking in code is just like, you might as well be overt about it. Let's just be honest. At this stage in the game, speaking in code, we not tricking these white folks by speaking in code. Let's be real. Like, let's be real. With all of these electronic devices that we have, fam, the way they tapped in, speaking in code ain't doing nothing. They know what's up. So you might as well be open with it. You might as well, speaking in code ain't gonna get us nowhere. Like, for real, because at this point, like I said, they tapped in. They know what's up. Man, they tapped into the mind at this point, man. These electronic devices tapped into your mind. I done had plenty of times to where this phone, I'm thinking something and I go see an ad about what I was thinking about. And I kid y'all not. I BS y'all not. I didn't verbally say anything. I'm thinking it, and then I get on this phone, scroll on Facebook, and I see an ad about what I was just thinking about. So speaking in code ain't even doing nothing the way they tapped in, fam. The way they tapped in, you can speak in code all you want. They know what you thinking. Brian, I 100% agree with that. But at this current time, see, of course that could be the objective. But we got to deal with the right now. We got to deal with the right now. We got to deal with the way we communicating right now. And right now, our main sources of communication is utilizing their platforms, unfortunately. And outside of even using their platforms, we using their devices. So this is another thing too. Black people, we say things like, hey, we need to create our own platforms. We need to have our own YouTube, our own Facebook. But we got to understand what we're saying. Look at how this sounds. We can have our own platforms, but if we still using smartphones, it defeats the purpose. Because they still tapped in. They still can infiltrate. Because we using their devices to create the platform. So that's another thing that we gotta tap into. We gotta create our own devices. So we gotta forget the creating your own platforms. We can do that. But we gotta create our own devices. We gotta create our own smartphones. We gotta create our own computers. We gotta have our own iPhone, our own Microsoft. That's what we really need. Outside of creating our own platforms, like, yeah, we can create a platform, but I use their computer to create it. I use their smartphone to create it. They still winning when we using their devices to create these platforms. They still winning when most of our people are going to our platforms using their devices. They're still winning. They're still winning. The only way you can get to my platform is if you have this smartphone, this laptop that they created. They are winning. If that's the way you got to get to my platform by still going through them, they are still winning. Oh, Antonio, for sure. That's why I don't even try to be secretive with it, man. We got infiltrators. You know what I'm saying? We got the house Negroes that can't run and tell folk. Brian, again, the reason why I'm gonna say I disagree with that, and it ain't that that's a bad point, but the reason why I'm gonna say I disagree with that in regards to understanding technology and the scrutiny is because they already got teams like that. They already got their teams of those type of people. So yeah, we can try to form our own teams, but they got teams ready for that. They already thinking 10, 15 years down the line. That's a business plan. That's how you're supposed to do it. And when you make a business plan, you got a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So fam, when they created technology, when they created these platforms, the T part of that SWOT analysis is called threats. So they had to analyze all threats. So best believe they already know all the threats that can come with it. That can come with these platforms. That can come with creating a smartphone. That can come with creating a laptop. They already know all the threats. So they got departments for that. They got people for that already. So we'll be just starting while they 20 years in the game already. They already ahead. You know what I'm saying? So we using their platforms to try to get ahead. It's like we still using their platforms. And like I said, at this stage in the game, they know what's up. Like they know what's up. Like somebody like myself, speaking in code ain't gonna do me no justice. They already know what I'm on, man. I didn't use enough keywords. They already know. Oh, W. Atkins for sure, man. That's why I take $1,000,000 slaves. $1,000,000 slaves. K Reno got a song. $1,000,000 slaves. Yeah, like that's my song. And shout out to K Reno. But he got that song. $1,000,000 slaves. That's all they are. That's all they are. Boom, for sure. That's all they are, man. $1,000,000 slaves, unfortunately, man. Unfortunately. Some of them try to get into that space, but again, they get into these spaces by dealing with the foe, dealing with the enemy. You know, so we got all of their devices in the crib, and we think that we get one up on them. Like, man, we got smartphones, we got smart TVs, we got laptops. Fam, they tapped into all of that. Any electronic device, they tapped in. Anyone. So we got to have our own TVs, our own laptops, our own smartphones for them not to be really tapped in like that. But even like my brother said, even when we decide to speak in code, now you got to worry about the infiltrators. You got to worry about all of that. We got to worry about all of that, man. And it's crazy. It's crazy. It's unfortunate. That's why I say at this point, speak your piece. Speak your piece, man. I made the decision. I made the sacrifice, and I accepted my reality 10 plus years ago. I understood then, I understand now that what I'm standing on and what I'm standing for and some of the things that I talk about causes a lot of doors to be closed on me, you know, and if I build on certain platforms, I might not last on the platform too long. I done been deleted off of Facebook 2 times, you know what I'm saying? I done got marks on YouTube, and I ain't even got halfway to some of the stuff that I know would cause me to get deleted off this joint. I ain't even tapped into a lot of that. So I already know I've accepted these realities, man. You know, I'm going to still talk about these things, though. You know, it is what it is, but I've accepted it. I've accepted it. I'm going to use these platforms right now because, of course, most of our people are on these platforms right now, you know. In due time, we going to have our own situation going on. In due time. I feel like in due time, we going to have that going for us. But right now, I'm meeting people where they at. I'm meeting people where they at right now. So it is what it is. It's unfortunate. You know, when you decide to stand for something, and I feel like us black men that be on that type of vibe don't get enough credit. Like when you're a black man and you decide, like after all the things that happened to some of our great soldiers, when as a black, like when you done seen what happened to Fred Hampton, Khalid Muhammad, Huey Newton, them, like when you see even Pop, like when you see what done happened to folks and you still choose that path, like for real, man, like brothers don't get appreciated enough for that. Because we done had enough situations happen in the past, man, to where a lot of our elders and ancestors then got assassinated for speaking the truth, for us to be like, you know what? I ain't even gonna talk about that. I'm gonna keep that to myself. I'm gonna stay silent about it. I'm gonna just read the books, but I ain't gonna say nothing. When you become vocal about these things, man, you making a large sacrifice. You know, that's a huge sacrifice. Huge sacrifice, man. And I made the sacrifice, and I'm still making the sacrifice. I could have easily, listen, there are a lot of things that I could have chosen to talk about. There are a lot of things I can choose to talk about that will probably give me more buzz, that will probably be more YouTube friendly, that'll probably go over well with a diverse group of people or a more diverse group of people. But I choose to talk about what I talk about. It's not popular. If certain people get wind of this information, it's not going to go well with them. You know what I'm saying? That's a sacrifice. And I accept everything that comes with that sacrifice, you know. But I'm going to continue to push it. I'm not going to live in any type of fear. No matter what threats and all of that come my way. You know, I'm not afraid to get on here and talk about why I don't trust the government. Yep, that's not popular. Yep. If the average person comes across that information, they're going to be like, oh, this dude tripping. I ain't afraid to say the president is a puppet. Man, listen, Joe Biden is trash. I ain't afraid to say that. Joe Biden is trash. That crime bill that Bill Clinton, like that crime bill that Bill Clinton is known for, that got a lot of your brothers locked up doing a lot of time, Joe Biden was behind that. He was behind that crime bill, that racist bill. He was behind that. Joe Biden. You know what I'm saying? He was behind it, so we ain't afraid to call this type of stuff out. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was behind that joint. You could look that up. Like, this is common knowledge. That crime bill, that racist crime bill. Y'all favorite black president, Bill Clinton. That was y'all first black president that y'all claim. Him and Joe Biden, they orchestrated this whole crime bill. Of course, with other people involved that you may not know about. But yeah, they orchestrated and pushed this whole crime bill. They got a lot of your brothers unfairly serving large sentences. But it is what it is. But again, we ain't afraid to say that. Again, me getting on here saying that ain't popular. But it was popular for, like, what's crazy, and then I'm finna have to tap out. But what's crazy is it's not popular for me to get on here and talk bad about the president when it's Joe Biden. But hey, just some years ago, everybody was talking bad about the president because it was Donald Trump. So it was cool when they was doing it. But when I was talking about Obama back then, and when I'm talking about Joe Biden, now it's not cool to talk about the president. But everybody was justified when it was Donald Trump. So I was like, oh, that's funny. So now I can't talk about the president because it's Joe Biden. Or back when it was Obama, I couldn't criticize the president. Oh, you this, that, and the third. But when Donald Trump was the president, everybody was on Facebook. Everybody was on YouTube. Everybody was on Instagram and Twitter talking bad about the man. So it was cool then. It was cool. It's cool then. It was cool then. But it ain't cool now. Shout out to Intelligent Hoodlum, a.k.a. Tragedy Gaddafi. He got a song called Arrest the President. This song about older than me. You know what I'm saying? But that's the type of vibe I'm on all the time. He said, arrest the president. He's a drug dealer. Like, yeah, for sure. But on that note, and I'm going to go ahead and tap out, man. I serve my time, man. I appreciate y'all tapping in with the kid, the donations and all the love, man. Appreciate the conversation, man. The dialogue, the questions, all that good stuff, man. Hopefully everything was answered, man. But it is what it is. If not, we going to always tap back in and we going to build, man. But I appreciate y'all. I'm going to let y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Friday. I may or may not tap in with y'all this weekend, man. I got some studying to do, man. Just some chilling to do. You know what I'm saying? Decompress and all that good stuff, man. So y'all be easy, man. Y'all stay healthy. Y'all stay black. Y'all stay original, authentic, all that good stuff, man. I'm out. Peace.